Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's time to talk about Saro, dog training, and all the good stuff about dogs. Good. I'm hoping that you're doing well and everything is good and everything is going well for you and your dog and your family. If it's your first time here, my name is Saro. I'm a dog trainer and I focus on training dogs without the use of treats, force, aversive tools, aversive methods, and use instead of food and treats and force or domination, we use play and praise. And the new series of the channel is going to start next week. Let me share the screen with you so you know what I'm talking about. So the new channel, the new series on the channel is going to be focused on training dogs that are not food motivated, including beagles. And the new season starts on February 7th. So make sure that you are tuned in, and some new videos are going to be posted on the channel as well. And if you have any questions are welcome today. We're going to focus on answering your questions. So if you have any questions, leave those questions in the chat area. I'll be reading them and answering your questions. Also, I wanted to mention that, yeah, with the new direction that I'm taking on uh, making videos and content regarding dogs who are not food motivated, you will think, okay, there's there are certain dogs who are not food motivated, but in general, I would say dogs are not food motivated. We make them foodie. We force them to be food motivated. I have come across a lot of dog trainers who uh, they also teach that if a dog is not food motivated, we have to force them to become food motivated, and we have to starve them. We have to uh, use their portion of the food that they're eating during that day as a reward and treat, which I don't agree. I disagree with that kind of approach. And in general, dogs are not food motivated. We force them, we make them become food motivated just because we don't know what to do and we don't know what else to do, what else to use. If we're not going to use treats or food, what else are we going to use? And that's I would say the focus of the channel from next week would be to give you new ideas so you can start thinking and approaching your dog training from different perspective, so you can have healthier and better relationship with your dog and have a healthier dog as well when you're not forcing your dog to be using treats or food and be eating food all the time. One of the I would say reasons that I'm not focused on using treats as reward for dogs is the basically the health concept of approaching animals and dogs with food. Because what happens when you overfeed a dog, it causes a lot of health issues, um, especially if we are feeding the wrong or bad food. you know, in general, if we are feeding the dogs bad content, bad products, um, I think we're causing a lot more harm to the dog as well. So we're going to talk about all those stuff. And as I said, the new season starts next week on February 7th. Hopefully, you will be joining this journey with me as we take to a new approach and new ways of learning how to train dogs who are not food motivated. By the way, I posted a poll the other day about whether it's a good idea or is it an abuse to not feed a dog, so it will be more interested in food in order to be food motivated, so we can train it. This the poll is still on the community tab. If you want to go and put your 2 cents in there, uh, put your opinion there. Uh, 62% of the votes have said that yes, it is an abuse to not feed a dog, so it will be hungry, and so we can train the dog and use the food and treats as a reward. And 38% said no, they don't think it's a abuse when you do that. So what are your takes? Let me know in the comments area as well in today's talk and today's video. And also maybe go ahead and put your vote in the vote as well. As I said, it's in the community chat in the poll. You can see it there. So yeah, go ahead and feel free to ask your dog related questions, any dog related questions that you have, and I will do my best to answer your questions. And one more thing before we get started is also this is the new video that is going to come, on Tuesday. Um, the myths about dog trainings and dog training non-food motivated dogs. That's the one that will be posted on Tuesday. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon as well, so you would get notified as soon as this video goes up and starts the new series that we're gonna talk about non-food motivated dogs. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about also was many of my viewers, they asked similar questions. Most people have the similar issues, uh, whether it's chewing, barking, being aggressive with their dogs, or even if you have a dog now that has behavioral issues and you're just about to ask me the same question. Where does all these problems start? You know, where does uh, why is it that dogs are behaving certain way and are trying to ruin our lives? Is, I would say, 99% of behavioral issues would be solved if we focus on providing your dog's daily 5 essential needs. If we do that, I think most 99% of the issues will be solved, because we have to focus on providing your dog's daily 5 essential needs. What are these daily needs? They are exercise, training, socialization, care, and then affection. And if you are a repeat viewer of my channel, you know I always talk about these. And if you're a new viewer, uh, what this means is your dog has 5 things that it needs to get on daily basis. If you provide these 5 things for your dog on daily basis, 99% of your dog's behavioral issues will be solved. The reason your dog is doing this and that, it's not because they're pissed at you or they're they're trying to ruin your life. It's because you're not providing your dog's needs on that day. Every day is a new day for your dog, and every day you have to provide decent amount of exercise. You have to do some form of training with your dog. You have to provide a bit of socialization, a good care, and some affection, right? You have to share love and affection with your dog. If you provide all these 5 things, uh, your dog is going to be well behaved within few days if you provide these in daily basis. So let's say you have a dog who's driving you crazy today. If you start providing your dog's needs from today for the next 3 5 days, you will see that your dog's behavior is going to change. It's going to become a different dog if you provide proper form of exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. Cat Lady says, I'm new here. Welcome, Cat Lady. Cats are welcome here as well. All animals, pets are welcome here. Um, but we mainly talk about dogs, anyways. But you're welcome. Um, yeah. So if you provide decent amount of exercise for your dog, you will see that your dog is going to be much happier, much healthier as well. Um, now there are there are amounts of there's a let me no, okay, add audio on the back. uh, there's a decent amount of exercise that you can provide for your dog. You know, it's not matter of providing a lot of exercise. It's matter of providing decent amount of exercise. Now, what is decent amount of exercise? Decent amount of exercise, it depends on your dog. Depends on how your dog physically is, how it feels physically, emotionally, and you provide that amount of exercise that your dog needs. If your dog is a young one, you provide a little bit more than if your dog is a senior, for example. So you just have to figure out what amount of exercise is ideal for your dog, and then you provide that exercise for your dog. Whether if it's walking, whether it's just playing with other dogs, whether you play with your dog, whether your dog plays with toys, you have to provide some form of exercise. Exercise is a physical stimulation for dogs, and you have to consider that and provide that for your dog. So Cat Lady says, I have rescue farm with 14 dogs and 10 cats and farm animals. Oh wow. You are in, that's heaven. When you have animals around you, surrounding you, that's great. That's something that not only makes you to become a better human, but it improves the life of humans as well and animals as well. Because you dedicate your life to these animals make your life better as well. And 14 dogs, that's a lot of dogs. uh, 10 cats and farm animals. Wow. I hope you are enjoying it, and I hope you're having fun with it actually. There's a question from my sound gallery. It's a great channel actually. Why is my 12-year-old male beagle whining after exercising and feeding? That's a good question. Um, when dogs get older, they tend to be a little bit more sensitive than when they were younger. Um, and they become a little bit more emotionally unstable as well. So what happens is they're expressing their emotions um, especially if they are sensitive about certain things, and if they are feeling that there is a there is something that can make them be more sensitive, they will express themselves. They will express themselves about the emotions and feelings that they have. Um, and I think it's better if some dogs express themselves rather than holding it in. When they hold it in, it becomes unhealthy. And when they express it, at least they're letting it go. I wouldn't worry about it. 12-year-old um, having, uh, you know, a little bit of, how do you say, uh, senior moment, or how do you say, the golden emotions, expressing its emotions. So I wouldn't worry about it. Um, just understand the reason he's doing is because he's expressing his feelings and emotions. That's all. Cat lady says, "I love animals." That's great. That's great that you love animals and you surrounded yourself with animals. That's great. That would be my ideal life as well, to have animals around me. That's my goal as well. Someday I'm hoping to have that. I have two dogs at the moment and I'm kind of overwhelmed, but you know, there would be a time that I would be able to handle a lot more dogs and animals, which I'm hoping that someday I will get to that. But at the moment, I'm not able, I don't think I'm ready to have 14 dogs, 10 cats, and some farm animals. Wow. That would be overwhelming for me. But I hope you have help and somebody's helping you. Some people are helping you to, take care of these animals. But someday I would love to do that too. So let's continue here. So yeah, exercise is something that every dog needs, and each individual dog you have to provide decent amount of exercise for that dog. Um, what I mean by decent amount of exercise is, depending on the age of the dog, depending on physical limitations of that dog, depending on emotional um, state of that dog. So if you have a puppy, obviously you exercise that dog a little bit more than adult dogs, older dogs. Puppies, I would say also you have to be careful because they're still growing. They're in the growing stage, so you don't want to over exercise them because then you're going to cause physical issues and health issues as well to develop. Um, Adult dogs, you want to provide them, at least 1 hour of exercise per day. Senior dogs, yeah, 45 minutes, half an hour should be enough, for them. We don't want to overdo with seniors as well, just like puppies or young dogs. Exercise also, for um, there might be a dog who has a bad leg or a bad neck, or there's injury in the body, so you have to be careful about that and provide decent amount of exercise for that dog as well. There are dogs, for example, they're afraid of people, or afraid of dogs, or afraid of sounds and trees. Yeah, so you don't want to put them in an environment or situation that scares them more. So you exercise them in different forms and different environments, and you figure out what kind of exercise is ideal for this dog. If this dog is scared of people, scared of dogs, do we exercise it in the park, or do we exercise it in the backyard? you have to figure that out, right? So as I said, decent amount of exercise for each dog is very important to figure out what works for that dog, and then we provide that type of or that amount of exercise for that dog. Training is next thing is training. Training is exercise is a physical stimulation. Training is a mental stimulation. And training is something that I think many dog owners, they don't realize that they need to do with their dog. And it's training is not something that it's just a matter of teaching, sit and stay. It's not that. Training is something that you do to stimulate your dog's mind or brain. You know what I mean? It's not just to teach them sit and stay. It's a matter of allowing them to be a little bit more challenged mentally. Think of it as solving puzzles for your you know for your kids, for children. Yeah, solving puzzles. Think of it that way. Think of it as providing some form of problem for your dog and allowing your dog to solve that problem or come up with solutions for that problem. What would it be? So in my case, for example, what I do and I practice with my own dogs is, yes, I do train my dogs. Like, I'm working on certain thing and I will make it better when I'm training my dog. I would do training with my dog anyways, but I don't consider it like formal training, because the way I train dogs is I use play and praise as a reward. So my dogs are mainly playing, and during the play, I provide some form of stimulation and also some form of problem. So, for instance, I'll give you one example. So, if I'm playing fetch with my dog Annie, for example, I don't just throw the ball right in front of her. I throw it in some area that she has to either jump in or to get the ball, or it's hidden somewhere, or it's challenging for her to get. So I make her to use her brain and think of it of, doing something uh, while she's having fun, while she's playing. There are challenges that she has to go through, and during those challenges and during that play that we're doing with with my dog, what I'm doing is also I'm teaching her, I'm practicing, several uh, commands and several things that I want to practice and improve in her, technical abilities, right? So in your case, for example, if you have a dog who's, let's say, is not a good walking dog, it can't walk properly on a leash. During the training, I would make it fun, and I would practice, putting the leash on and playing, and then walking a little bit and playing again, and then walk and improve the walk itself in the backyard. I would go back and forth, slow it down. I would challenge my dog to figure out what am I trying to communicate. So training becomes something that we're doing not only to improve the techniques or ideas that we're trying to improve from our dogs, but challenge our dog to use its brain, right? So, in my opinion, 30% of stimulation should be mental training, and in sorry, I ignore that. 70% of training should be mental stimulation, and 30% of the stimulation should be physical. Okay, physical stimulation should be 30%, mental stimulation should be 70%. Many dog owners, they do the opposite, or they only do physical stimulation. They skip the mental stimulation. And the problem with skipping or not providing enough mental stimulation for a dog is that they don't they don't feel that is normal. So one of the reasons why dogs dig and they chew furniture or cause damage in the house or bark or growl or things like that is because dog owners are not providing mental stimulation for the dog. What does what does it have to do with mental stimulation and chewing and things like that? The thing is, if you don't provide mental stimulation for the dog says, I'm going to create my own entertainment. I'm going to create my own puzzles. I'm going to create my own problems so I can solve those problems. That's what happens. When you don't provide mental stimulation, the dog says, I'm going to create something to entertain myself and to stimulate myself mentally. And you're saying, but barking and digging, those seem mental. It feels like physical, right? But they are mental. It comes from the brain. The brain tells them, okay, you're bored, you're not stimulated mentally, so go ahead and bark. Go ahead and dig. Go ahead and chew the floor. Go ahead and chew the wall. That's what happens. The brain tells them because, hey, I'm not stimulated today. We got to do something. That's why they start doing those behaviors because the brain is not stimulated. So the brain is telling them what to do. And they can't control themselves. They just do whatever it comes natural to them, barking, chewing, and things like that. So training is not just, you could also train your dog if you feel like training your dog every day, but I don't suggest training your dog every day. I suggest at least 3 to 5 days a week. And, mainly, I would say some form of mental stimulation rather than physical stimulation. My sound gallery is asking, can all dogs eat raw food? Yes, all dogs at all ages can eat raw food. It's safe for all ages and it's safe for any situation. Now, I would say, if your dog is coming from the background of, let's say, kibble, is it been eating kibble? You have to slowly start the feeding of raw diet because what happens is when you feed raw diet all of a sudden to a dog who's been eating kibble, it shocks the body. It's going from one diet to a different diet, or it's going from bad food to good food, or it's going from dirty food to clean food. So when you do that, the body is going to kind of get surprised, So what you want to do, you want to slowly mix in the raw diet or raw food in the kibble, and especially for young and older dogs, because they have more sensitive stomach and system. That's why I would transition slowly, not all of a sudden. But yes, old dogs definitely can eat raw food as well. Cat lady is saying, what a good thing to do for a Great Dane or a whiny dog. What a what a good thing to do for a Great Dane or whiny dog. um, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I would say, Great Danes are large dogs and they require minimum amount of exercise as well. They are physically, I don't want to say physically challenged, but they are physically a little bit, depending on each dog, actually, I would say. But there are Great Danes that they have long legs, big body, and long body, and all that. So you got to be careful about the amount of exercise that you're providing for that dog, because if you do it too much, or if you do the wrong exercise with Great Dane, you will probably cause a little bit of damage in their system. So what I would suggest is just simple walking is a good idea for a Dane, and also allowing Great Danes or dogs similar to that in general, or even puppies, to play with other dogs. Because what it happens is when you allow dogs and dogs to play together, what it happens is they can control their level and they can play as much as they require, and then pause and rest if they need to. So you're kind of allowing them to free play and control themselves and manage the amount of exercise that they need, manage how much they should push themselves and how much they should be you know doing things. Because when, as a human being, we are exercising our dogs, we may be pushing them too hard and pushing them too much, thinking that, oh, this is good for our dog. But you never know. You never know. You may be pushing it too much, you may be doing too much for your dog. So I usually suggest to allow the dog to decide how much they want to play, how much they want to do things, rather than um, us forcing them. I think, most of the times, even when it comes to walking a dog, for example, I get a lot of this question. My dog is pulling on the leash, and I want to my dog not to pull on the leash but walk beside me all the time. The thing is, when you do that, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about the dog. It's all about you when you're thinking, I want my dog to walk without pulling on the leash and beside me. But that's not the goal of the dog. The goal of the dog is to explore the environment, and they don't walk. Normally, they don't walk like beside you, or just walk, do nothing. That's not normal. That's not natural for a dog to not walk and sniff and go here and go there and do all these things. It's not natural. That's not healthy for a dog. So you have to first of all allow the dog to walk the way it wants. And I'm not saying that that's how it should be all the time, but you have to allow a dog to, I would say 60% of the time, 60 to 80% of the time, walk the way it wants. And maybe 20 to 40% of the time, teach the dog to walk the way you want, right? Because not all dogs enjoy walking beside you, and not all dogs just enjoy walking boring walk. A dog who's exploring and sniffing and exploring the entire environment, it's a healthy dog, wants to know what's going on. That's normal dog. So think of it that way. It's not about always about us. It's about what can we offer to our dogs that will make their lives better, and therefore it's going to make our lives even better. Because if you allow a dog to walk the way it wants, it will be happier to go for a walk with you. And also, here's the super tip. Let's say you decide to go for a walk with your dog for half an hour. The first 10 minutes, if you allow your dog to walk the way it wants, the rest of the walk, the last 20 minutes, would be much better and much easier to walk with that dog. Remember that. Cat Lady is asking, what is a good time to let teacups to play, but I let all dogs out on fence area on farm 10 acre. Well, I mean, if these dogs are getting along and you have a 10 acre, and I don't know, teacups, you mean the small dogs, to play with dogs. If they are getting along together and they're having a good time, and you have a 10 acre that they can roam around and just sniff around and run around and do their things, that's good. I would be happy to have an environment, an area that allows me to have 10 acres of fenced area and allow the dogs to roam around and run around. That would be perfect, actually. Um, but the other thing I would say is this. I think I don't remember who said that exactly, but I think it was Caesar Milan who said that. Um, when you have dogs in the house, in your property, whether if it's 1 bedroom apartment or 10 acre house, for a dog, that environment it's like a fish in a fish tank, right? It's good idea for certain dogs to be going out of the house, out of the property, and go and explore other areas. Um, just because they need that stimulation, right? Um, I would say you don't have to, but it would be a good idea if you could take them out and allow them to explore the other areas and other environment as well. Stormy Night says, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah. So let's continue here. So we already talked about exercise, we talked about training, and we're talking now about socialization. So socialization is social stimulation. So remember, exercise is a physical stimulation, training is mental stimulation, socialization is social stimulation. Dogs need that stimulation, that kind of stimulation as well. So, because dogs are social animals, they've been bred and designed by humans for humans, and they're supposed to be social. Now, if you have a dog who's not social, That's because unfortunately something has gone wrong in that situation, and that dog has become antisocial, right? Um, we have to help dogs to be social. As much as we can help them, push them a little bit to be social because that's healthy. Now, allowing a dog to be social, that means allowing them to be friendly and also meanwhile stimulate themselves, right, when they're socializing. And that itself, it creates a little bit of stimulation in their mind, in their brain, which brings down the level of the, let's say if your dog, for example, is 100% charged in the morning and you provide train exercise and training is going to be, you know exercise, as I said, 70%, 30% is training. Sorry, I keep mixing this up. 30% exercise, 70% training. If you break down these stimulations during the day, these are all stimulations. So you could say 60, 20, 5, 15, 5, something like that to make it 100%. But socialization is another thing that you can do to stimulate your dog. So your dog, when socializes with other dogs or people or cats or the environment, it it generates some form of stimulation in the brain. So it makes the dog not only happy, but it makes the dog to be healthy, um, and be more, I would say, satisfied for the day. You know what I mean? So it's good to provide that form of socialization as well. And the next thing is care after socialization. Oh, Nancy is here. My dogs are listening. They like to hear your voice. Oh, wow. That's great. Nancy is one of my students and also a channel member as well. And that's great. I'm glad that they are paying attention. At least somebody's listening to me, right? Most people ignore me, but at least your dogs are listening to me. Just kidding. Uh, it's nice to see you here, Nancy. So, care. Next, we're going to be talking about care. Now, care is physiological stimulation. Dogs love to be cared for, right? And as you can see, care is the fourth thing. In most dog owners' point of view, care is the first thing that they consider more the most important. But especially animal, cat lady, someone like cat lady who's rescuing animals and dogs, care for them is considered as the first thing. First thing that we have to provide for our dogs is care for animals. But care is part of the formula, but is not the first thing. Yes, from human point of view, we need to care for the dogs, but we have to consider that care is there, but the first thing that they need is exercise. So care, including, feeding the dog, clipping their nails, brushing them, giving them treats, taking them to, fun places, doing fun things, providing them the best bed for them to sleep in, best crate, buying them the best toys. buying them the best and most bling bling collar and leash. These are care, right? Those things is the last thing a dog thinks about. The first thing that a dog wakes up and thinks about is, how can I release my physical stimulation? How can I satisfy my physical stimulation? Last thing they're thinking about is care. Not the last thing, but one of the last things that they think about is care. Um, so we want to make sure that we provide proper care, proper physiological stimulation for our dogs. And we want to make sure that, especially when we are providing, if we are considering to provide proper care for our dogs, we are providing, for example, a good, fresh, healthy, uh, species appropriate diet for our dogs. That would be my number one tip. If you are spending money on your dog and you're considering to buy them a bed or whatever, consider putting that money on improving your dog's diet rather than buying things for your dogs. The other day, one of my students was showing me in the video chat that we were doing. Uh, she showed me her dog's favorite toys, and believe it or not, one of them was this filthy, torn apart sock. With the sock that we wear. That was the favorite toy of her dog. So dogs don't care if you buy the most expensive toy in the world. Objects, things don't matter to your dog. Your dog can have the worst toy in the world and is the best toy for that dog. So don't think of, when you're providing things for your dog, you're actually satisfying your needs rather than satisfying your dog needs. So instead of investing money and time and energy on finding a toy or bed or something object for your dog, invest that money and energy on providing your dog fresh food. Fresh, as much as fresh food you can provide for your dog, the better it gets better. If you provide, let's say, if you're feeding your dog 1 cup of food, try to make half of this cup of food fresh. Add fresh food to it. Fresh food, what I mean is fresh vegetable, fresh meat, fresh fruits, things like that. As much as fresh things that you can add to your dog's food and diet, the better. So it's something that I would say invest on that rather than anything else. Let me meanwhile answer a question from Stormy Night. My dog is 8 months old, Mutt. He's about 60 pounds. DNA says German Shepherd, Coonhound, Great Pyrenees. We thought he was a lot of Beagle. He's about 17 breeds. Uh, he gets so excited. He loves new people. It's very hard to calm him down. Um, it's 8 month old mutt. I have one of those too. Annie is a mutt too. Annie has, I don't know, she has also 17 breeds in there too, I would say. But the main breeds of hers are Basset, Beagle Collie, Boxer, Lab. Um, and few more others. The list goes on and on. We did the DNA test as well. So you have an 8 months old mutt, and it's 60 pounds, and it has all these breeds in there. I'm sure it's going to be bigger than that. It's going to be a big breed, and gets excited. Yeah, okay. So it's very hard to calm him down. So first of all, that is normal for puppies at that age to be excited. They're living a life, they're happy, they're healthy. That's what it means. It means your dog is healthy and happy. And that is good thing. You want it to be excited, right? Now the problem is when you can't control the excitement. As a human being, we want everything to go on our way, and we ignore the dog's point of view. We have to also understand that when a dog is 8 months old, is natural and normal to be excited. We have to allow them to be happy and healthy and excited. And on the other side, we have to also help them to learn to calm down. So you may have missed the beginning when I was explaining this, but if you provide your dog's daily five essential needs, I would say 95% of the behaviors that you are experiencing at the moment, which are unwanted, will go away. So if your puppy is 8 months old and it's excited and it's hard to control it, is because probably you're not providing enough exercise for your puppy. Again, in the beginning, I was explaining that, hmm? I was explaining in the beginning that puppies need different amount of exercise and different forms of exercise as well. So you have to provide some form of physical stimulation for your puppy throughout the day, um, and you have to stimulate it physically, and then you have to also mentally stimulate it. So what that means is you have to start training your puppy. I don't know if you have started training or not, but you gotta do some training, some regular training and some formal training as well. And your puppy is going to need a lot of socialization and also proper care. And next we're going to talk about affection, and we're going to put all these together, and we're going to provide all these five essential needs on daily basis for our dogs. So our dogs are going to be stimulated, healthy, happy, satisfied, right? Uh, so this is the formula. If you think that, for example, I was saying in the beginning as well, that uh, if a dog is driving you crazy and is misbehaving, uh, it's not because their goal is to ruin your life or make your life horrible. It's just because we are not providing them their daily five essential needs. And I call it essential. This is the keyword here, essential. These are things that your dog really is essential for your dogs. And for you, for example, as humans, essential could be cell phone. I need to have my cell phone all the time, or use my coffee. If I don't have my coffee, kind of my day is ruined, right? So I need to have coffee. I need to have my cell phone. I need to have my breakfast or my lunch, or every day everybody is different, but everybody needs certain things on daily basis in order for that day to be the best day of every day, the best day, and be more, I would say, beneficial to me, and also be satisfying for me. If I don't have these things, my day is ruined. If I don't have my coffee, my cell phone, for instance, my laptop, and this and that, my car, or my day is ruined, right? So when you ruin my day, when my day is ruined, I become cranky. I become not too happy, and I'm not happy to be around people. People are not happy to be around me. I whine all the time, life sucks, I don't know. I don't want to do anything, becomes like that, right? And so when it becomes like that, I'm not going to behave properly, right? So imagine that from your dog's point of view. If you don't provide what your dog needs, it's going to be cranky, it's going to be unhappy, it's going to be weird to be around, right? So your dog, instead of requiring coffee or wine or laptop or this and that, requires exercise, requires training, requires socialization, proper care, and also affection. So affection, let's talk about affection. And I think, Stormy, if you uh, overall go back and watch the entire video today and understand, to put all this together, you will have 95% of your issues solved with your puppy as well. So the last thing a dog needs is affection. Yes, the last thing a dog needs is affection. The first thing that a dog is worried about is not care, is not affection, it's exercise. And the last thing a dog needs is affection. Most people, most dog owners, they do it the opposite way. They say, I'm going to share a lot of affection for my dog, so my dog is going to be happy and he's going to leave me alone so I can do my things. I'm going to share a lot of affection, or I'm going to exercise my dog to death. I'm going to give a lot of treats, so my dog is going to leave me alone so I can focus on my life, right? But first of all, as a dog owner, you have to be aware that the or understand what is the purpose that you have a dog. What is the reason you have a dog? Why did you decide to have a dog in the first place? Think of that, remember that, and then take action. Why is it that you have dog, right? If you have a dog because you want to work, it's not going to work. If you want to work 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and you want to have a dog, kind of is not going to work because you can't have a cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? You have to have, if you want to work 10 hours a day, 8, 10 hours a day, you have to have plan B, for example. What is going to happen to my dog while I'm working, right? You can't solve this problem by sharing affection with your dog more because you're working 10 hours a day. You can't solve that problem that way. You have to have plan, you have to have plan B, plan C, and all that. So what I mean by that, for example, if you're working 10 hours a day, you have to have an option of, maybe my dog has to go to daycare while I'm working, or somebody has to look after my dog while I'm working. What? Or dog walker, yeah, you have to hire a dog walker to come and walk your dog. And sharing affection in that situation is not going to solve the problem, for example. You have to physically or emotionally, mentally invest and do something about it, you know? And affection is something that it satisfies the dog owners. When we share affection with our dogs, it makes us feel good, but also if it affects the dogs as well. But I think when we share affection with our dogs, we we enjoy more than the dogs, but dogs benefit more as well from than humans. I'll explain what I mean. So affection, in my opinion, is a reward for dogs. If you're sharing affection with the dog, is similar to giving 20 pieces of treats to a dog when you share affection. It's that valuable. Maybe even 50 treats to a dog. It's that valuable. The dog says, "Wow, my mom or my dad shared affection with me. Oh, I'm in heaven," right? So affection becomes reward. But also on the other side, when human is sharing affection with the dog, it makes us feel good. It makes us uh, get rid of all that stress of our day as well, right? So I would say, it's good to have a dog because it allows us to distress. But from dog's point of view, a dog doesn't need affection as much as we think they do. If you share affection with a dog who's who hasn't had exercise or physical and mental stimulation or social stimulation or physiological stimulation, you share affection with that dog is going to say, you know what, I don't care, I don't like you because you don't provide me what I really need. You're focused on this, right? So affection, you have to be careful how much you're sharing affection, why you're sharing affection, when you're sharing affection. I wouldn't share an affection with a dog who's not mentally, physically balanced and stimulated. I need to provide first all other stimulations for my dog before I provide emotional stimulation for my dog. Yes, affection is a stimulation as well for your dog, and it's emotional stimulation. So one more time, exercise is physical stimulation, training is mental stimulation, socialization is social stimulation, care is physiological stimulation, and affection is emotional stimulation. And I see a question here from Stormy. Stormy saying, my dog is strong. I got a prong collar. He's so pushy with new people. The prong collar is not the solution. Be, Not only you're harming the dog with prong collar, you're making the situation even worse. So what do you think? What do I mean, right? So let me explain briefly that is going to make sense. So your dog has whatever problem it has, and you're relying on prong collars to solve the problem. What is a prong collar? Prong collar is nails that basically cause some form of discomfort. Let's call it some discomfort. I'm not going to say pain. I'm going to say discomfort. Even discomfort causes some form of discomfort in your dog's neck, and you're hoping that this discomfort is going to stop the dog from doing certain things or pulling or doing this and that, right? So this discomfort is negative force, right? It's a negative force. Let's be realistic. It's negative. There's a negative situation happening as well. And you're trying to solve the negative problem with a negative tool. When you combine negative to negative, what do you get? You get negative results. Think of it that way, right? In this case, you can't fight the fire with fire. You have to be more realistic and understand how to solve this problem with a positive approach. Prong collars, in my opinion, are not healthy tools to use. It shouldn't be used. Prong collars should be used on wild animals, not domesticated animals. Why? Because with a wild animal, we have no connection. We cannot have conversation, or we can communicate with wild animals. We are, although I don't suggest to do it, but if you're going to use aversive tools, use it on wild animals. But for domesticated dogs, domesticated animals, we can have communication. We can teach them to be doing what we want. And how do we make them do what we want? We create a foundation, and we start building on top of it. How do you build a foundation? You find a strategy, a plan, method, a system that works for you and your dog, and you invest in it and you start working on it. Not with tools. Tools are band aid solutions, and also a negative approach for a negative situation has negative results. It ruins the relationship between you and your dog as well. Here's another perspective. Here's another perspective. Your dog is doing something in its mind. It doesn't think that is bad or good or bad. It's just doing things, right? In this case, jumping on people or being pushy with people, right? And you put prong collar on your dog, and prong collar is attached to a leash to you, and you're pulling to stop the dog from doing that behavior. Now your dog is saying, this person who's behind me is causing me pain, is causing me discomfort, it's causing me a lot of negative emotional damage. I'm going to relate myself negatively with this person. The person who people are who your dog is jumping at, those are they don't get affected. You get affected. You get infected with a negative energy from your dog, and you are infecting your dog with negative uh, effects. So you're not helping. So you're making your dog to even get more frustrated, and I'm sure it's not helping either. I guarantee you that the prong collar is not helping either. If it was working, you wouldn't be using it on and on. You know what I mean? If it was doing what it was supposed to do, you wouldn't be constantly using it. And I'm sure you'll always use it, hoping that it's going to eventually do its part or get rid of the behavior. It won't. It'll get worse and worse. The more you poke, the stronger it gets, the less painful it gets. You get used to it more and more, and you have to put more nails, you have to add more nails, you have to pull more, you have to do more and more and more. Instead of focusing on that, you have to be focusing on something else. What do I do now? Start training your dog. Start working on your dog. He is doing good with training, but not once he gets out. I think he needs more outside socialization. Do you think? Well, as I said, they need decent amount of um, everything. Exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. It's not only one thing. We have to look at all these things, 5 things. When I'm saying all these things, it's only 5 things that you have to focus on, right? Uh, and it has to be done in this order as well. Okay. Exercise. The day has to start with exercise, continue with training, continue with socialization, care, and affection. Let me give you a quick um, a day routine of how a dog. The dog wakes up, instead of saying, "Good morning, sweetie pie, you're so cute." Oh my goodness. Instead of doing all this affection, you take the dog for a walk. First thing a dog should get is exercise, walk or something. Next thing you have to, after you're done with the exercise, you have to do provide some form of mental stimulation training. And that, depends on your dog's age and where they are, depending on what you're training, some form of training. It's not only 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening that we go to class in a dog training class. That's not it. That's not only once a week for 6 weeks training. Training is every day. You have to do it after exercise. You have to do some form of training, some form of mental stimulation. So I would walk my dog and I would do some training with my dog. And during the walks, maybe my dog is meeting other dogs or meeting other cats or other humans or other objects and things like that. And then we come home and we have breakfast, feed the dog, and then I'll share affection with my dog. And then this routine repeats itself two, three, four, 5 times a day. I will repeat this in the before in afternoon. I'll repeat this in the evening. I'll repeat this at night. Right, as many times as needed for my dog to be stimulated for that day. So that's how I would do. It's not only one thing. You have to focus on many things. And you're saying also that Stormy is saying that I wanted a companion. I work from home now. He has terrible separation anxiety if I leave because of it. So you work from home, great, and you have a companion. Just because you work from home doesn't mean that, you know, first of all, that's it, the dog is going to be okay. You have to still provide those five daily essential needs, whether you work from home or not. And also, separation anxiety is a very normal, healthy, I would say, behavior for a dog. Why? Because dogs have been bred and designed by humans for humans. We wanted them to be with us. We actually bred that in dogs to be with us. So when you separate them from us, it causes anxiety, right? It's a natural, normal behavior of a dog. Can you control separation anxiety? Yes, you can teach them to tolerate it, but you can't get rid of separation anxiety. It's a normal behavior and it's healthy for a dog to have that because it shows that they are dedicated to you. No, they are, yeah, they're in the pack. They're accepting you as their pack leader, let's say, and they're doing what they're bred for, to be companion of humans. That's the reason why we breed them, right? Um, Now, can you teach them to tolerate separation? Yes, there is a way to do it. I have several videos in my channel, and the main thing is that to teach them to wait for you. If you have to go somewhere, to teach them to wait for you. Waiting is a behavior that you teach a dog, just like humans, you will teach to humans, is, for example, when it's, let's say, me and my wife, and my wife says, let's go and pick up food from the restaurant, for example, right? So I say to my wife, okay, I'll go pick up the food. You wait until I come back, right? So I leave to pick up the food, and my wife knows now, for example, I'm waiting for Saro to go and pick up the food and come back. He'll be back and he's going to bring the food. My task is just to wait for Saro. So that's an example. You have to do the same thing with the dog. If the dog doesn't know what's happening, it's going to have anxiety. But if you teach the dog to wait for you, the dog says, my mom or my dad, I know what's going to happen. They're going to come back. I know what's going to happen. I just have to wait. I'm not going to stress myself. I know what's going to happen, what is happening. The problem is when dog owners they want to leave the house, they say, "Stay, stay, stay. Mommy is going to be back soon. Stay, don't worry, don't worry. I know it feels bad, but don't worry. Mommy is going to be home soon. We're going to be home soon. Bye." If you do that, then the dog says, "What the hell happened? Why all of a sudden they got emotional and left? What did I do? What's happening here?" When you do that, the dog just panics. They feel like they got punished because they did something. They don't know what's going on. One of the core reasons why dogs also get anxious when you leave them home alone, it comes from their originally from their mindset that in wild wolves, for example, dogs are part of part of wolf family. Wolves, if there is some of the members of the wolf pack, if it's sick or is not healthy or is not helping the pack, they leave that individual behind. They leave it alone and they leave it and go. And that when they do that, that individual knows, oh, that's it. Oh, I'm dead. I can't survive on my own. I'm not going to survive. I don't have any support. I don't have anybody around me. That's it. I'm dead. So they know when they are left alone is equal to being dead, right? So when you leave your dog home alone or you leave your dog in general, they feel like you're leaving them to die. That's the reality. So they panic. But again, as a domesticated animal, as a domesticated dog, we can teach them. We have techniques and ideas to teach them to tolerate being home alone or being separated. By the way, if you want to learn how to teach all these things and learn in depth and in more details, you can join my Perfect Dog Plan program, which is based on invitation. I select the individuals who want to work with me one on one. And the way we do it is we set up a free video call, that we interview you in a way, and you interview me to see if we are a match and we can work together, can help you, and you can get help from me. It's a program that is customizable. It's lifetime support plan. It never expires. It uses a unique dog training method of without the use of treats or food or aversive tools or method. And also it has a lot of support. We do weekly coaching calls. We support you all the time. If you have any questions or concerns, you get support all the time. We provide that no matter what is happening to you. We also have online video training classes that you go and learn on your own term. And whenever you need additional help from me, you can ask for support as well. So if it's something that interests you and you want to work with me and have 24/7 support and lifetime program and support and commitment to your dog and training and hire me as your personal dog trainer, just go to sarodogtraining.com. My website is in the description. All the information is in the description below. Book a free call and we go from there. And we figure out if we can work together. If you want to benefit from my knowledge and the support that I provide in deeper level. Yes, I talked to Gene already. Uh, and I think the next question is from Rompers. My dog is aggressive towards kids. So this is, let me bring this up. So let's play this game. So what part of this formula is broken in this situation? Let's think about it for a minute while I get a sip of coffee. If this dog is, if your dog is aggressive towards kids, what do you think is missing in this formula mainly? Remember, we are providing our dogs daily 5 essential needs, and in this case, we have a dog who's aggressive towards kids. What could be the problem? I would say number 3, yes, socialization. So your dog is lacking social skills, obviously with kids, for example, and in general is lacking that social stimulation, right? So many dog trainers, they will say, oh, if you have a dog who's aggressive towards kids, we have to socialize it around kids and expose this dog more to kids, right? That would be a typical answer of a normal dog trainer. I'm not a normal dog trainer. I'm not your typical dog trainer. I look at these situations from different point of view, and I provide different solutions as well. So if we have a dog who's lacking social skills and the socialization is not great, and it's right in the middle of the 5 essential needs, right in the middle, right? So we have to go back and improve the training, improve the exercise in order for us to improve the socialization. So how do we do that? Again, this is something that this issue is something that we have to work a little bit in deeper level, but this is just the brief explanation of the solution that I would, and my approach that I would do. So if my dog is aggressive towards kids, it's not that my dog hates kids or uh, it doesn't like kids. It just doesn't know how to solve this problem. It doesn't know how to solve dealing with dogs, right? It doesn't know how to approach kids, and so it's a problem and doesn't have a solution. And that stresses your dog because it doesn't have a solution. That stress causes aggression. Because again, here we go. I have a puzzle in my I do puzzles every day, and there's a puzzle that I can't solve it, and it's frustrating. I can't solve it. It frustrates me. It drives me crazy. It makes me become stressed and anxious because I can solve this puzzle. So therefore, I hate that puzzle. But then all of a sudden, my wife comes and says, "Oh, you're solving that puzzle. You're having a hard time with that puzzle. You know what? You could do this. You can move this to there, and you will solve the puzzle." All of a sudden, the puzzle is solved. I'm back to liking that puzzle again, right? Just because my wife helped me, right? I solved the puzzle. Now I don't have that problem anymore with that puzzle. I can go to the next level. I can enjoy that puzzle again. See where I'm going? So it's just that your dog doesn't know how to solve that puzzle, and you are not providing enough information and solutions to solve that puzzle. So your task should be, and you could use to provide proper amount of exercise. Now, if a dog is aggressive towards kids, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this dog is not getting decent amount of exercise. Why is it that I'm thinking that way? Because the exercise is causing your dog to be more aggressive towards kids. It's causing more stress. Either you're doing too much exercise or you're doing too little exercise. That is not helping with the solution. What I mean by that is, let's go back to the puzzle that I hated. I was having a hard time with that puzzle, right? And my wife, before my wife comes and gives me the solution or help me with the solution, she comes and says, you know what? How about you move this there? No, it's not going to work. How about you move that one there? No, we both now are stressing over this puzzle, right? So that causes more stress in us, both of us now, and we hate the puzzle again. So when you exercise a dog too much or too little, causes more stress in the situation. And if we improve the exercise and then we start training our dog in a way that starts to learn to have better communication with me, with us, with you, and has more has a better ability to learn and understand what is going on and pay more attention to the human, then we can help the exercise, proper amount of exercise and training to help the dog to solve this problem of aggression toward kids. Meanwhile, we may have to also improve the care and affection as well. So this is why I suggest, you know, this is a good start for you, rompers, to start, for example, understanding what you're supposed to do. But if you want to really solve this problem and it's really driving you crazy, you have to work with a professional and deal with this situation in a different point, from different point of view and different way. You can't just look for answers and solutions for free here and there, because I'm giving you a solution now, right? And I'm sure you're going to, maybe you also go and ask another dog trainer for the same problem. And that dog trainer is going to give you a different solution as well. And what is going to happen is you're going to get confused even more what to do. And instead of doing things, instead of helping your dog, what you're doing is you're wasting time looking for solutions, right? Instead of wasting time looking for solution, I would say invest time in doing things, helping your dog actually. And one of the ways is just invest. If it's really bothering you, if it's really annoying your life, if it's really ruining your life, see if you can invest in the program that I have. And to figure that out, set up a free video call. Let's talk a little bit more in details and see if I can help you and if you can start doing something for your dog rather than just talking about it and thinking about it. I gave you a brief solution of what you're supposed to do. You have to improve the exercise, the training, the care, the way you share affection with your dog in order to improve the social skills of your dog towards kids. The last thing is, aggression is not something that we say our dogs are, that's it, done. They're aggressive towards kids. We can't do anything else. Aggression is just the results of anxiety. Let's go back to the puzzle that I was having a hard time to solve. If that puzzle I'm having a hard time to solve all the time, it will affect my life. There are people who get affected. Because the puzzle, they're having a hard time with puzzle, it affects their life because they go to work and they're thinking about how to solve that puzzle. They're eating, they're thinking about how to solve that puzzle. They're going for a walk and thinking about how to solve that puzzle. Imagine what? Imagine your dog is having issue with aggression with kids. It's not that it's aggressive towards kids. It's just anxious. It's stressed. It's driving it crazy in mind. It's not kids. It's something else. It's the thought of things that are in his mind and are driving him crazy that causes him to be aggressive. I hope you understand that part. Let's go to Stormy. I understand. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I never do that to him when I leave. I think I need to leave him short time and extend it. I'll look at your program. Great. Yes. Uh, yeah. One of the approaches of helping a dog to deal with separation anxiety is leaving them a small amount of time and then expand on that and make it more and more so the dog understand what is going on. And next and last question that we're going to answer and talk about is advice from paw to pure per advice on counter conditioning a dog to get along with cats. So this is something that I would say it has few answers. One is there are dogs who literally they can't get along with cats. It's not that again they hate cats, it's because there's another companion in the house, right? There's another individual in the house that takes away your attention and they don't like that, competitor. Yeah, there's another competitor in the house. It's not that they hate cat thing, it's just they hate the idea of having another competitor in the house. So you have to be selective when you're bringing a dog to your home. Is this dog cat friendly or not, right? So, or is this cat dog friendly or not? You have to figure those out first of all. Second of all, it's it has to do with who came first. So if the cats were there but the dog came next, then the dog has to be learning to tolerate the cats because the cats have been there before. And it's never cats problem either. Cats also need to be on top. They're always high. They should be having their whole, rest area, safe zone, safe area on higher. You know that, I'm sure. Um, and the dogs are in the bottom, right? On the floor. Um, and if you have a good control over your cats, then it's good to start focusing on the dog. If you don't have a good control over your dog and your dog is not in your control and comes and uh, you know a noise or um, causes even more distraction in the dog while you're trying to control the dog and the cat comes and causes more problems, then you have to control the cat. In overall, you have to have control over one animal before you work on the other one. So what I mean by that is, let me give you an example. So I had Harvey and I wanted to bring Annie to our family, for example, right? I had 100% control over Harvey when I brought Annie. Because when I bring Annie to a house, I don't want to focus on two dogs. He's done. I'm good with him. He doesn't. He's under control. He's good. I don't have to focus on him. I know he's not going to cause problems. I don't have to deal with him. All my focus 100% goes on Annie. How do I control her? How do I focus on her to bring her into my house without having any problems? So that would be, I would say, um, my approach. You have to have 5-year-old Pit super mod defensive acting. Yes, cats are very dog friendly. Cats come second, came second. Makes sense. They came into his territory. Yes. So the cats came second. So yeah, the dog was there, right? And you brought the cats. Now the dog is saying, I don't like this. You know, you're taking away the attention from me to them as well, and I don't like that. So he's yeah. You're saying he's defensive. So yeah. So he's saying, I don't like that you brought the cats, right? So they came second. So your dog has priority. So what you have to do is, here's the thing: you should have good control over your dog before you brought the cats. You should have. But now you have to work on both of them, right? It's too much. So the best thing is, for now, focus on improving and having 100% control on one of them, either the cats or the dogs. Pick one and focus on that and make that one under control, and then work on the next one, the other one. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. It made sense, right? uh, I think that's about it for the day. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got something out of this live session. Again, if you want to work with me, if you have a dog who's handful and you are not having it, it's done. It's not food motivated also, and it's driving you crazy. All you have to do is pick one system, one method, one dog trainer, and focus on that rather than looking for solutions here and there and driving you crazy and making yourself more stressed and anxious about what to do and what not to do about your dog, how to get rid of all these behaviors. Instead of spending and wasting time on these, do take action. And maybe your action today would be to set up a free video call with me to see if you can solve your problems and if I'm the right person to solve your problems. It's a free call. You have nothing to lose. All you have to do is set up a free call, and let's talk about it. Let's see if we can do something to change your life, to change your dog's life, to change your life with your dog. If that sounds something that right, let's do it. I'm here to help you, support you, if you are willing to invest in it. I want to thank you for being here. Very good. Yes. Focus on them separately. Yes. Individual care, individual, needs of them has to be provided. Again, don't forget that even your cats, I would say a cat's daily 5 essential needs is this as well. Cats and dogs are kind of similar, different species, but this formula applies to cats, dogs, husbands, wives, kids. It applies to everything. You can apply this to everything. That makes sense. Thank you very much. I enjoyed this session. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Right here, there's a subscribe button, click on it, subscribe. Uh, Hit the like button as well. Share this video, share the channel if you're enjoying this channel and content that I'm providing. And on Tuesday, see you on Tuesday. I'm going to be premiering my new series on uh, dog training, uh, dogs who are not food motivated. Starting February 7, we're going to start a new series. I hope you can join me, and that's the video you're gonna be premiering on Tuesday. Okay. Hope I'll see you then. And until then, have fun with your dog.